You wake up early. You get ready for work, sip your coffee, and head out. You spend the day at your job, clocking in, completing tasks, making someone else richer. And then you return home, exhausted. Tomorrow, you do it all again. Around the world, this is the rhythm of millions of lives. From New York to Mumbai to London, workers follow the same loop. They work hard, often overtime. Yet somehow financial freedom always feels just out of reach. The rich get richer. Everyone else stays caught. By 2024, 60% of full-time workers globally report financial stress. Median wages have barely increased in real terms over the past 2 decades. While the cost of living keeps rising, in many countries, households are living paycheck to paycheck. Even in advanced economies like the United States and the United Kingdom, wage growth has consistently lagged behind inflation. Meet Jenny, a market vendor in US. She works 6 days a week, sometimes 12 hours a day. Yet even with constant effort, she struggles to pay rent, school fees, and basic necessities. I ask myself, she says, when will it be enough? It feels like the harder I work, the further I fall behind. Dr. Angela Reese, a global labor analyst, observes the system closely. Companies have learned to extract more value from employees without increasing pay. People work longer, harder, and yet remain financially vulnerable. It's not just about effort, it's about the system itself. Across the globe, workers are producing more than ever before. Productivity has surged over the last 30 years, but wages haven't kept pace. In the US, worker productivity increased by nearly 70% since the 1980s. Yet real wages have stagnated. In the UK, housing costs have doubled while median wages have grown only 15%. Meanwhile, in India, the service sector is booming, but millions of graduates enter low-wage jobs with little financial security. And African youth unemployment exceeds 40% in urban areas, leaving young people trapped in cycles of casual or underpaid labor. This is the salary trap, a system designed not to enrich the average worker, but to maintain a flow of labor and ensure the wealthy continue accumulating assets. It is not just numbers on a chart. It is psychological and social. Society conditions us to believe, get a degree, get a job, work hard, spend. Financial literacy is rarely taught, yet consumption is constantly encouraged. As salaries rise, people inflate their lifestyles to match. A small raise often disappears almost immediately, absorbed by higher rent, new gadgets, car payments, and social obligations. This is lifestyle inflation, and it silently traps millions before they even realize it. Dr. Lena Ikbokwe, a behavioral economist, explains, society teaches us to trade time for money, and then to spend that money to fit in. It never teaches us how to make money work for us. For examples abound. In Mumbai, Arjun, a junior IT worker, spends 2/3 of his modest salary on rent, commuting, and food. He dreams of buying a home, but sees his financial goals recede further each year. In London, Sarah, a nurse, works long shifts, yet cannot save enough to afford the house she dreams of. In the US, Dan, an office clerk, works overtime, yet finds his debt and expenses growing faster than his paycheck. The salary trap is universal, but it is not inevitable. Understanding it is the first step toward escape. Salaries alone rarely build wealth. Incomes provide short-term survival, but without strategies to acquire assets, they cannot create long-term freedom. Many assume a steady salary equals progress. But wealth is not earned in paychecks. It is accumulated in assets. Stocks, real estate, businesses, royalties, intellectual property. These are the tools the rich use. Meanwhile, most workers exchange hours for dollars, creating a finite ceiling to their income. Inflation is the silent thief. Even if your paycheck grows slowly, the things you need, food, housing, healthcare, education, often grow faster. Over decades, this erodes real purchasing power. The US Federal Reserve. Data shows that between 2000 and 2020, the median household income rose by just 16% in real terms, while housing costs rose 50%. In African, rental costs have doubled in the past 5 years for middle-class apartments, outpacing typical wage increases. Fictional expert Dr. Robert Chen, a financial strategist, explains, people assume a paycheck equals financial growth. But without investments or income-generating assets, you're trading finite time for finite money forever. And time, unlike money, eventually runs out. Lifestyle inflation compounds the problem. As incomes rise, so do expenses. A small raise doesn't improve freedom. It increases obligations. Cars, apartments, gadgets. Travel, suddenly. Even a higher salary feels insufficient. It is the trap of apparent progress that never leads to real wealth. For generations, society has taught a simple formula. Go to school, get a degree, find a stable job, work hard, and financial security will follow. It's the cornerstone of the modern career path. Yet this formula, so widely accepted, has become one of the key mechanisms of the salary trap. Consider the cost of education. In the United States, the average student graduates with over $30,000 in debt. In the United Kingdom, tuition fees can reach $9,250 per year. In India, even government college graduates often carry tuition and living costs that leave them with limited financial flexibility. Meanwhile, in Africa, families pay for expensive university fees, often without clear guidance on career returns. And yet, the promise of job security rarely delivers true wealth. Many graduates enter industries that pay barely enough to cover living expenses. Arjun, a junior IT worker in Mumbai, spends the majority of his salary on rent, transportation, and meals. The dream of owning a home or building savings feels impossible. Dr. Angela Reese points out a global pattern. Education today often prepares people for employment, not for financial independence. You learn to earn a salary, not to grow wealth. Even high-paying jobs rarely break the cycle. Nurses, engineers, and clerical workers around the world find themselves living paycheck to paycheck, despite seemingly respectable incomes. The disconnect between education and wealth is a systemic issue. Schools teach skills for jobs, not money management, investing, or asset building. This creates generations of highly educated individuals who are experts at earning salaries but inexperienced in building financial security. Financial literacy is the invisible barrier. Many people leave school knowing how to calculate taxes or pass exams, but few understand compound interest, investing, or the power of creating passive income streams. As a result, they remain trapped in the same cycle, relying solely on their salaries to survive. Dr. Lina Igbokwe, behavioral economist. We encourage people to study, to work hard, to follow the system, but we rarely teach them the strategies used by the wealthy investing, entrepreneurship, and wealth management. Without this knowledge, the salary trap becomes inevitable. Over 70% of young adults globally lack basic financial literacy skills. The salary trap thrives in this environment. By promising security, education and employment systems encourage compliance, long-term work, and loyalty, all while the wealthy continue accumulating assets and leveraging opportunities that most people never see. It isn't just education that keeps people in the trap. Corporations have a vested interest in employees remaining dependent on salaries. Stable workers ensure continuous productivity, predictable schedules, and lower risk of employees leaving for better opportunities. Take bonuses for example. A company may offer a 5% raise or a year-end bonus, enough to motivate employees, but rarely enough to significantly improve financial independence. Overtime is encouraged, but overtime pay is still finite. In warehouses across the United States and factories in China, employees work extra hours to meet quotas, yet wealth creation remains out of reach. Dr. Robert Chen explains, the system is designed to extract maximum value from labor. The more people work for salary alone, the more corporations benefit without ever needing to give up. Ownership of assets or wealth. Globally, this pattern repeats. Amazon warehouse workers in the US receive hourly pay and occasional bonuses. In African call center employees are expected to meet strict targets, with minimal growth in pay. In India, junior engineers toil long hours in tech hubs, yet asset accumulation remains, limited due to high living costs and low savings rates. The takeaway: corporations profit when salaries are structured to provide survival, not freedom. Bonuses, raises, and promotions keep employees motivated, but they rarely empower people to break out of the salary trap. The wealth gap is the clearest evidence of the salary trap at work. Across the globe, the top 1% owns a majority of financial assets. In the US, the top 10% holds over 70% of household wealth. In the UK, the richest 10% own almost half of total wealth. Similar patterns appear in India and across the globe. Meanwhile, average workers rely entirely on salaries, renting rather than owning, spending more than they save, and rarely investing. Financial security, let alone wealth, becomes a distant dream. Fictional examples illustrate this stark contrast. Jeff, a tech entrepreneur, invests in stocks, real estate, and startups. His wealth grows exponentially. Jenny, the market vendor in US, cannot invest because her income barely covers essentials. Arjun in Mumbai dreams of a home, but cannot save enough to make a down payment. The structural reality is clear. Assets create wealth. Salaries do not. Global wealth is increasingly concentrated. Top 1% owns 50% of global assets. The system was never designed to make everyone wealthy. It was designed to keep people productive, predictable, and dependent. You were taught how to earn money, but not how to multiply it. You were taught how to work, but not how to build assets. And that difference changes everything. Because once you understand how the wealthy actually build power, you realize something important. It's not about working harder, it's about playing a completely different game. In part 2, we'll break down the exact strategies that allow ordinary people to escape. The salary trap using time, leverage, and ownership. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.